You think he's coming?
Huh?
The mole man. Do you think he's coming?
Oh.
He obviously managed to get through there.
I thought he would have been back by now.
Let's have a look. Hello? Shane? There's nothing in here. Oh, hello.
What is it?
Don't know. Well, tell you what I am going to do. Have his tea.
Cheeky monkey.
Well, I appear to have been left without a drink this week.
Oh dear.
So that is mine. So look at this. Oh. Well, it's either designed to tell us what's happened to Shane, or it might be an advert for a new type of cologne. Because all it says is, detained by Boris.
Oh, boo.
I'm sure we're all feeling a little bit like that at the moment.
Oh, I was looking forward to having more company.
Oh, I know, so was I. Some news of the outside world would have been nice. Anyway, it looks like it's just going to be us again.
Oh, wow. Okay, alright.
But, hello, once more. Welcome back to Maybe Movies and episode 20.
I believe it already.
I know. We're not teenagers anymore. It's all downhill from here. Thank you again for joining us. As you know, if you were here last week, then you'll know we had a surprise guest from our friend Shane. And we are looking at doing our new versions of Robocop and Die Hard, which I think this week we're starting to look at ROBOHARD. If I may quote from a completely different film, from Beavis and Butthead Do America, don't stop till you reach the back of the teeth. Yes, so yeah, this week we'll be looking at Acts 1 and 2 of RoboHard. Unfortunately without Shane, as we are back down in a lockdown situation once more. I do have some shout outs, but I'll do them a bit later.
Okay.
The only one I was going to do straight away is to my friends Simon Morgan and Daisy Plackett, who run Strange Fascination Theatre Company, who have been together since the dawn of time, not quite, but who announced their engagement last week. So congratulations, guys, and about time too.
Well done, you.
Even the spider fans are impressed. Okay, so let's get into this then.
All right.
First thing I noticed on rewatching RoboCop, it's very much an ensemble piece, so there's a lot of stuff that happens.
There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yes, that has nothing to do with our main characters.
No, that's true.
A few set-up things, first of all, I guess. So I'll be saying then that we're keeping the setting the same. It's Detroit, so John Mcclane is in Detroit.
It's Detroit, the quote-unquote near future.
Which I loved because it is just, there is no specific date.
No.
It's just the near future, which was quite nice. I was looking at. I imagine that I know the suggestion from later in the film is that OCP have been strategically placing ideal candidates for the project in various precincts. I can also see with this, he's not there because he wants to be. I think he might be there as a form of punishment.
He's there because he's on the shit list.
Yes.
Okay.
It's John Mcclane. It would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I think we'd see a bit more, or we'd get a bit more from him, because he's generally more vocal. I think we get a bit more from him about this whole privatised police force thing.
Yes, absolutely. We'd get a lot more of his his banter and his back and forth and things like that.
Yeah.
Because he's that kind of a guy. Peter Weller's character is a little bit more restrained, whereas John Mcclane is much more forthgiving
Absolutely.
with his thoughts and opinions.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we get to that point, it's how much of that will he lose when he's more machine than man?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? And I think he'll still lose a lot, but there's so much outwardly going with John Mcclane that we'll see more of it than we did with Peter Weller.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. I don't know how you did this. I mean, because there is so much happening in here, rather than picking 3, or it was originally going to be 2, we could do 3 now because there's only 2 of us, scenes. I kind of had a bit to say on each bit that he is in, because the scenes are quite quick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to a certain degree. But you're right. Especially in the first 2 acts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which also reminds me, I know we said last week that we were going to look at calling Act 1 when he goes on patrol.
Yeah.
On rewatching it, I thought maybe we can call it a little bit before that. It will be at the moment where they are delivering him to the precinct. So when they're getting him installed, there's like a natural break in the action there.
You see, I actually, whilst viewing it, did agree with you. And then the scene when he goes out on patrol comes up, and suddenly the Robocop theme happens.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was like, oh God, he's literally spelled out for us.
Yeah, no, you're right, yeah.
But originally, you were right. I had them rolling him out into the police station, and then Act 2 was him going through the prime directives, going to the firing range, and things like that. But I actually, it like the film's telling you that something's just changed.
Yes. No, you're right. Okay. So, from the top.
All right.
We get...
our news flash.
Get the new flash, yep.
And then we meet Murphy and Lewis.
Or in this case, we meet McClane and
Powell. Yes, indeed.
So that's going to be, initially that's, again, we can pretty much guess how that's going to go. Him turning up at the precinct for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Not taking any shit from anybody.
Yeah.
Obviously, the stuff with the introduction of Powell,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to have the same impact as the introduction of Lewis.
I was thinking about that. I mean, you're right to a certain degree, but they're both outliers in their professional choices. She's a relatively dainty woman who completely kicks ass. He's an overweight man who looks like he should be behind a desk.
Who completely kicks ass. Yeah.
So there's a similarity to their shtick.
So I suppose that one of the things then that's fundamentally different about Powell in this scenario is that we were working on the premise here that he hasn't shot a kid.
I was thinking about this earlier on, and I think it kind of depends that way, because that whole story, that whole back shtick is about the story of Die Hard.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Yeah.
It's relevant to that. You know, it's a bit of backstory for Officer Powell in Robocop, but it's not relevant in the same way that it is in Die Hard. So I feel like that actually should go to Lewis when she goes over to Die Hard.
I agree. I agree with that.
My obvious choice for her first scene is meeting Murphy and Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Because first introduction to both characters, the kick-out scenes, it very quickly establishes the character dynamic. You know, they're both forthright, go-getting people.
Yes.
There's that little back and forth about who's going to drive and everything. Yeah.
I did make a note about that.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to the car, obviously Powell goes to get into the driver's seat, and then McClane kind of stops him and goes, "Yeah, I've heard about your driving." That's a little nod.
That's good. Yeah, I kind of like that.
We then go to other bits and pieces again. I mean, I did actually make a list of how the run of the scene. So yeah, the news invited, introduce Murphy, get to meet the captain, get to meet Powell in this case, out on patrol.
Yep.
Which brings in the next thing. So are we going with the same thing that his son watches as a TJ laser? Which I did think at the time, did they make it TJ laser because it was the 80s and TJ hooker?
Yeah. I thought that was obvious.
I never picked up on it before. It was the first time.
It was the cop show.
Yeah.
You know.
But I also thought, well, because I think I don't know whether we'd get the guns slinging from McClane. But then I thought about it. Well, you know that John Mcclane is partial to Roy Rogers.
I was thinking something similar. I imagine that we'd introduce it the same way that it's Robocop. My kid loves the show.
Yeah.
I was always a Roy Rogers man myself.
Yeah,
Because it's still the same.
it's still the same action.
It's the same action, the same trick.
Except with just a lot more smoke.
It just pays it forward. So yeah. I think it does play out the same, but it's I was more a Roy Rogers man myself.
Yeah.
Because from there it's the boardroom, isn't it?
Hmm?
From there we go to the boardroom scene. So where we meet Jesse Ferrier's character, meet Ronnie Cox and Dick Jones and all those people.
Oh yeah, OCP and Ed 209.
Yeah.
That actually happens before the bit about playing with the gun.
Oh, of course it does.
But yeah, we have that bit.
Yes, yeah.
Because then immediately after that, there's a call on the radio and they enter the chase.
They do. It's very quick. They kind of forget.
It really is.
I also forgot with that as well that the slightly younger, probably the youngest of them, Ray Wise in that.
Oh, what, Leon?
Yeah. Because I obviously recognise him more as Leland Palmer from Twin Peaks.
Oh, right. No, he was around throughout the 80s, man.
And that was probably the first time I recall seeing him.
Common in, did you ever see Saturday the 14th?
I know of it.
He's the dad in that. No, he's not
Um,
the dad in that. No, somebody else is. But he's in it. But they weren't B movies, but they weren't A grade movies. They
No.
were middle grade movies throughout the 80s.
And he's always
a lot of them. Yeah.
Stuff in it.
Which also made me think you've got two people there who got to work together again in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because Ray Wise is in it, and Kurtwood Smith, who plays Boddicker, is in there as well.
Of course it is. I forgot he's in there. Yeah.
Oh no, I do apologise, not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're in Agent Carter, aren't they?
Yes, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
We move very quickly into the chase, which is going to be a little bit different. Well, no, because you've got Powell driving by then, but I suppose he's again, that can feed back into what we were saying earlier about, I know what your driving's like, or I've heard about your driving. So he does put his foot down properly.
Yeah.
For some reason, I can even though, yes, for the movie he would have to be there because of the setup with the body.
Don't you realise that when they're chasing the car, it's Lewis or Powell.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
That's what I mean. So the earlier bit where McClane makes the comment about, I've heard about your driving. So now he gets the chance to prove what he can actually do.
Yeah, of course. Ah, nice. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. That's very good.
Although for some reason I can't, in my head, I know he would have to be in the. I know McClane would have to be in the Detroit police cop armour with the Kevlar and everything. But I still just imagine him in his vest with the shoulder holster.
I think that's the way everybody sees him, isn't it?
The chase would go pretty much as it is in the thing until we get to
The factory.
The factory.
Yeah.
and this is where I thought things would be different. I expect John Mcclane to be more cautious. There's moments when you look at the way it's shot with Peter Weller. He is very gung-ho, but he doesn't look in control. He looks like a rookie.
He acts like a rookie in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think so. I think he'd be cautious. And I also think we'd be getting some trademark McClane monologuing.
Yes.
What the hell are you doing here, McClane?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Why not just wait for pickup? Because you're a goddamn hero. Whatever. And there'd be that. We'd get to see more of that side of him.
Yes.
Through his cautiousness, we'd get a chance to see that before he engages fully in things.
Which I loved as well, because I think Powell would be as well, because they're both a little bit older.
Yeah.
Powell obviously knows the streets a bit better, all this area, certainly knows this district better than McClane does.
Yeah.
So I think which I think would work, it would add to the tension.
Of them creeping through the building, trying to find them.
Yeah. The movie's in a hurry to get to where it's going, but with these characters, we can afford to spend a little bit more time.
Which brings me to the next scene, so where McClane meets Emil and then the other guy. And again, I must admit, I was wondering, would he shoot Emil? He's in a high-stakes situation. They're outmatched. Well, there's the superior numbers against them. We know he's a cop. He's supposed to uphold the law, but we know how he, when he's cornered, he doesn't give any quarter, as we've seen in Die Hard. I don't think he would be able. I don't think we could have him kill Emil.
No, you're right. But shoot him. Yes, I think so. Yes, I think you're right. You've probably got a point. He would react faster.
Yeah.
He would be less cautious. Weirdly enough, in that particular situation, he'd be less cautious. So he'd shoot faster.
Which is probably what then brings the other guys in.
Of course it is, yeah.
Also, the thing with this is, again, I did just put down, Powell doesn't look down. So how does he get taken out? Because it's obviously...
Maybe one of the others, like Leon or somebody, has snuck up behind him, because that happens before
It
Murphy
does.
catches Emil.
Yeah.
So maybe Leon or no, it's Johnson. So maybe what's the Chinese guy? What's his name? I can't remember. Tran or something.
Yeah.
Could sneak up behind Powell whilst he's distracted with the. Can you mind if I zip up? Bop on the head.
So how about this? So he's got him covered. Yeah, do you
Yeah.
mind if I zip up? He's just got him staring him straight in the eye.
Yeah.
And then is it Chan? Did you say his name is? Or Chan?
I think it was a Vietnamese style name, so it might have been Tran.
Tran. Okay.
I think.
There's where Powell's standing. There's a ladder. He pulls up the ladder behind him, pulls him off.
Yeah. Great. And then
Sorry.
he does the fall, gets knocked out. Yeah. Great.
Pulls him over, not pulls him off. I don't want.
It's your mind that's going there, my friend. It's your mind.
So that's
That's all.
I do think that bit would play out differently because not a girl and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's the bit when Clarence turns up.
just before that. Again, when he first meets Emil,
Yeah.
that's when we get our first yippee-ki-yay.
You see, somebody suggested to me, someone very close to me, suggested that would be a moment for like Clarence to go, "What are you, some kind of cowboy?"
Ooh.
Charging in like that. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Oh yeah,
One last
absolutely.
act of defiance.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Was it-
Not my thought, someone else's. I'm sure you know who it was Davis.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. No, good one, David. Nice.
Thumbs up all round.
Absolutely.
No, because I only thought of it there because again it signifies because we know Emil has to hear it because that's what triggers him off later on.
Yeah.
But he's already there. Okay, yes, he's been injured this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still there, and he'll probably be picking up more on it this time.
Yeah, of course.
Because
Because he's
he's
just been
like-
shot by that guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's
No, that's
gonna have
fantastic.
it in for him, isn't he?
But yeah, I certainly imagine there being a lot more vocal from John
Yeah.
up until the point where he loses his hair.
He kind of bullshit his way through it, you know.
Yeah.
And then the bits where Powell comes to, who's trying to catch up to them before they start shooting him openly.
Yeah.
It's kind of quite nice that, again, the film itself gives you the reason why it takes Powell so long. Because you saw the difficulty that Lewis has squeezing through all that pipeline.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
He's going to have twice as much.
He's
trouble.
twice her size, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
What I also liked about that scene is that whole sequence as well.
Mm.
No music.
It doesn't. It
Oh, yeah.
It just added to
You're right.
To the gravity of the situation, they just pull home and just no music, just let the action
Right.
play itself out.
Because one of the interesting things I noticed, I'm sure if I ever noticed it before, I probably did when I was younger, but I didn't make the connection, is after the deed is done and they're walking away, Johnson looks back and says, "Good night, sweet prince."
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Shakespeare reference from A Crass Criminal. Only Verhoeven.
I completely missed that.
No.
I did. I think I only noticed it properly for the first time. So, getting the reference. Which sort of leaves me, personally, without a hard third scene for the first act. Because at this point, John's going to lose all of his agency. He's just being acted on.
Yeah.
It's kind of technically the end of the act in terms of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everything else that happens would just run on the lines of the original film.
I suppose as a passable third scene, maybe, it's just the scene in the hospital when he's going back through his memories and things like that. Do you think it would be exactly the same? You know, just those memories of his family and being shot, or do you think there would be more to it?
Well done, Gold Star, for bringing it up. Because it's a very powerful scene and I didn't actually make any notes on it, so well done.
It's one of the like emotional connection scenes that only act as a MacGuffin for the film, but it's like we've got more complex characters going into this. I'm just wondering if there's more that could be done with this scene. I'm not sure where it goes. I'm not saying I have an idea, but I thought I'd bring it up.
Sorry. So to cut to just a very as a bit of a throwback to something from Fight Club,
Mm-hmm.
with him just cutting in a frame of porn in the films.
Yeah.
We just cut in a frame of Hans Gruber falling off of Nakatomi Towers.
Yes, Gold Star. Gold Star. Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm trying to think what else we could really cut in from what we know of the characters. Again, it just gives you, as you say, it just gives you what you need to know that he can. So it's those last minutes of those memories are fresh, and that's why they persevere.
That's a possible idea. I don't know if it works or not, but I like possibility. we've established that he's not an eager rookie new to the precinct. He's been sent here because he fucked up. So maybe we could have a scene of his fuck up or him getting reprimanded by a superior or something about his journey to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Just give it a little bit of extra depth, a little bit more texture.
So how about this? It's maybe, again, in between all this, because it'll be sort of slightly jumbled in no particular order. And it's like him being told by his former captain that, you're being reassigned over here.
Yeah.
And when he finds out where he's being sent to, he literally turns around on his way and says, yeah, this place is going to kill me.
Yeah. That's great. That's lovely, yeah.
And then, black.
That's lovely. That's nice.
Was it, as we discussed already, we then run
more or
through...
less.
Until the rollout, that's the first time it has a chance to be different, and that's when we step into Act 2. So I think, unless you've got anything to bring up.
Well, I mean, because we're going to be saying that Act 2 starts from when he goes on patrol, there's just a couple of little things. And again, I suppose it has to happen because of the story, but sending him back to the precinct that he was assigned to. It just seems a little bit convenient. It's a conceit in the film, but it just...
You're right, it is. It's a conceit of the film, but you're right, it is coincidental.
I don't know what I put this down about. There was something obviously in this.
Although, it's supposed to be the worst precinct in the city, so where would they send a robotic policeman?
Oh, that's true. And it's the one that they want to get cleared for Delta City, isn't it? Yes. Got a note here saying couldn't think of anything to top that. But I didn't say what I'm alluding to, but I've just remembered. But that's in Act 2, so we'll come to that in a moment.
Oh, okay.
But then, yeah, I think we're clear.
So just before we move on to Act 2, we'll take this moment just to do a couple of shout-outs.
Oh, of course, I forgot about that. Yes,
Yeah.
It seems like the best time. So, just shout out to a few fellow content creators who are some of our more recent subscribers. So, thank you very much, guys. You're all brilliant. First one is to called Easy Mania, who does a lot of sort of movie mashups, short videos, usually mostly for comedic effect. Doing some brilliant work, especially check out his fake titles to made-up Bond films, mostly featuring Boris Johnson.
They're really good.
That does sound like fun.
And the second one is to the Open-Minded Wanderer,
Oh, yes.
who does mostly short videos as well, mostly sort of static camera shots of things from nature and things like that.
The wide and wonderful world.
Yes.
And they're really good. The one in particular, which is put up recently, which is Storm Chasing in Tornado Alley in 2004.
Okay.
Which is
Fantastic. Just
Okay.
literally just her and some friends in it in a pickup driving around filming tornadoes.
Okay, yeah, that'd be something to see.
Yeah. And then the last one is Cheap Shot Photography. There's a guy called Tim, who again shares a lot of his photography work that he does, and sort of where he goes on vacation and things like that.
Oh, okay.
Mostly using bits and pieces, like some of his kit, his stuff that he's put together himself.
Oh, very sort of, custom job. Oh.
yes. Yeah.
So and he's got really good delivery as well. That's what I found when I was watching a couple of his videos. His brilliant voice for the camera.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, do check them out. They're all wonderful guys doing brilliant things. And again, as I said already, thank you for subscribing to the channel.
Thank you.
Almost 50.
Almost. Yay. We're
I know.
getting there.
Yeah. Anyway, I've just gone and put this away when I need it back because we're about to do Act 2.
Yes, you might want to. Might want to check a few things as you go along. To Act 2. So, having recited these prime directives and taken a go on the firing range, our shiny new Mcclane goes out on patrol.
Robert McLean.
Oh, God. Yes. So the first thing is it's the guy robbing the store, isn't it?
Yes, it's the grocery store. I kind of want to pick one of these. I should pick one of these as my scene, but I like this whole montage of him going out on patrol. Partly because it shows how he approaches things, but also it's a variety of his catchphrases that are exhibited.
Yes.
You know, like at the grocery store, thank you for your cooperation. With the attempted rape, it's your move creep.
Yes.
The personality starts to come out almost immediately. So we want to kind of focus on that because, of course, this is McClane's catchphrase and he's got a bunch to choose from. Have you got any favourites?
Obviously, we have to have Yippee-ki-yay.
Yes. Damn.
But I'm just, anything that kind of jumps out for you? Or should we hand this off to better writers than ourselves?
Quite possibly.
But I think it's worth looking at because his phrases will be different. It's McClane's personality coming out, not Murphy's. And he's that much more.
I don't know.
Poppy.
See, the only one that pops out really is "Welcome to the party, pal." I don't know if it would fit into either of these two.
I kind of feel like it would be a good one for the grocery store guy.
I've got it.
He's the one who stands there just going, "Fuck me, fuck me, fuck me," shooting at him.
Well, I was thinking for the other one, for the attempted rape.
Oh, yeah.
He should again. It might mean cheeking something in from the guy who's got hold of the woman.
Yeah.
But it's just having to say, "Hey, you're gonna do what I'm saying. You're gonna do what I'm gonna. You're gonna do what I say. You're gonna do what I say." To which you could say, you could answer that he's not in charge of jack or shit.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one, especially, and it fits the scene.
Yeah.
Because they are like, I've got the girl, you can't do this, you can't do this.
Which reminds me, which is why I put down, couldn't think of anything to top that, is when he shoots through her legs.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing, it's the perfect response to that scene.
It is, yeah.
To that situation. So
Oh yeah, I always loved that scene. I was like, because, well, especially when you're watching it for the first time and you see his aim, and you're like, oh, that's so close, it's so close, it's so close.
Yeah.
Oh, he did it! Oh, look at him bleed. Oh. Ooh. Not going to recover from that one quickly.
Nope.
No. Yeah, no. Yeah, that one always had an impact on me. Like I said, I'm not picking one. I'm just saying this sequence of shots we're seeing, because up to this it's machine, and then as he starts to interact, we start to see the personality start to creep back out again.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So I just think it's important to talk about them.
Yeah, you can't get, no, I have a machine gun. Actually, I can see where I could put that in.
Yes.
But no.
I'd have to say that would have to be like one of my choices, one of my three, as it were, is to pick one of these and start focusing on how it's going to differ because of his.
Well, what I thought
I like what you said there. You ain't in charge of jack or shit.
Yeah.
Because you do what I say, man. I got her. I fucking kill her. I fucking kill her. I'm in charge here. I'm in charge. You ain't in charge, Jack. Or but in the Robo voice.
Yeah.
In the Robo voice.
Yeah. Fires, yeah.
Yeah.
I did have one then for the next bit after that, which is part of the montage, is the guy who's taken the mayor hostage.
Yes, the mayor one. He didn't do any catchphrases during that one, which is why I didn't mention it. But of course, it's all.
Well, the thing that I thought is when he grabs hold and pulls him through the wall.
Yeah.
They very much set it up that in the original film. That Murphy turns and delivers the punch of justice.
But yes,
like. That's the shot looks like that. It's the righteous. It's the cowboy with the white hat hitting the bad guy. But I just wrote down that John Mcclane fights dirty. He'd pull him out the wall and just throw him out. He wouldn't punch. He
wouldn't take the time to punch him
No,
out.
you just throw him out the window.
Yeah, just pull him through, swiveling out the window. Yes, it functionally doesn't change things. There's a small amount of satisfaction seeing the guy punched, but seeing McClane fight dirty, because we'll see that later on when we come to Act 3.
Yes, we will.
So actually seeing it now is good, because we want to see that in, because McClane is definitely a more devious thinker than Murphy is. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I agree.
And then we get... So we've got TV...
Oh yes, we have Newsflash number 2 in the interview with Bob Morton, which leads into the bathroom scene and the threats.
And then we have the dream.
And that's when Lewis confronts him for the first time. Murphy, it's you.
Yeah, that's true.
Somewhere there is a crime happening. I don't know why, I just love that line, because it's apropos of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Murphy's personality, it's not Robocop's personality, but the idea that abstractly, somewhere there is a crime happening and this concerns this machine.
Yeah.
Is a lovely line. I've always liked it.
Absolutely.
So are we... No, so we haven't gone up to... Oh no, we have. So after that bit, after he's left.
Yes.
Because
And
there's a
Emil at the
confrontation.
gas station
Well, before we get to that, you've got Powell, because he gets chewed out by OCP, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. Yes, I didn't note that down because it's a very brief scene. But yes, you're right. Yes.
Yeah, he'd be a lot more, again, a lot more respectful to his boss.
Yeah, totally.
But to OCP.
But with all due respect, you're OCP, fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you. Screw you, it'd probably be, because Al's not that kind of guy, is he?
Exactly.
We know that. John will swear. Al's not quite that kind of guy.
It was at this point that I also noticed a very small similarity, which is not really a surprise considering the time the film was made, but that Murphy's wife has a not too dissimilar perm to Holly.
It's not all that different. It is, you're right. It's not quite as curly-whirly, but it's pretty close, yeah.
But as you say, then we get to Emil at the gas station.
And you're dead, we killed you.
Yes.
Which is, for me, this is my choice, or this is my first hard choice for the scene, because this is a breakthrough.
See, this is what I did say.
Because he's so discombobulated that he's almost being human.
That's what I did say. One thing I did put in here through all of this, as we go along, and as you say, you're seeing more of the personality, his banter will start to creep back in, which is why I thought, even as a subconscious thing, at this point when he confronts him here, now I have a machine pistol. Oh.
It's probably not the ho ho ho.
Not ho ho, but now I have a machine pistol.
Then when he starts coming back, and that's when, as you said, he starts to get discombobulated.
Speaking of David again, it randomly pointed out to me in the lore of the film that's not actually an automatic pistol. It's a Gauss pistol firing flechette needles. So those little bursts are like tiny shuriken. So go back to the guy with the attempted rape scene.
Yeah.
Not just a bullet smacking you in the testicles, but an array of tiny shuriken shredding through.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on.
I just thought that was a lovely touch.
But once again, comes to you courtesy of my brother's brain. Yes, so now I have a machine pistol. Yeah, great. It's nice. And like I said, I kind of like the idea that's in that following the discombobulation and probably going into the scene where he goes back to Primrose Lane.
He might start monologuing to himself again.
Yes.
I know that, especially in Primrose Lane, the scene plays out silently on his part, but Mcclane, he wouldn't be silent. He's, Weller's that kind, Murphy's that kind of character. He's got that attempted stoicism.
Yes. Yeah. Whereas, as you say, John is a lot more.
He's green under the wings and he's a bit eager, but he's got this. It's like the bit when he's telling the story about his kids and why he's doing the trick, and then he kind of, actually, I like doing it.
Yeah.
He's got that pretended stoicism about things.
Yeah.
And it just feels like that works well with that version, with Murphy. He's that character, so having that scene play out silently in his silent rage works. But Mcclane would have something to say.
Yes. Except, of course, if this was Die Hard 5, which is terrible.
Indeed, yes. That's that for me. That's why I wanted to call attention to that scene.
I didn't gloss over it. I didn't take as much away from it, but you're right. You see.
I have to admit, some of that literally just came out of my ass right there.
That's what I do most of the time. There was one thing I did want to say, because at this point, which again outside of the action of the main characters, is where we lose Bob Morton.
Happens around now, doesn't it?
Of course, I skipped it because, like we were saying, I was focusing on the Robocop centric scenes rather than that. But yes, of course, losing Bob is in the middle of all that.
Oh no, sorry, we've got a little bit more to go.
Oh no, it's just after Primrose Lane because he goes to the club after Leon, and it's during that Bob has his unfortunate.
Yes.
Again, a nice little call out that I'd forgotten about, and I would have not noticed if he hadn't said anything. Is the bit in the club when Robocop slaps the gun out of Leon's hand, and this other dude in the club just catches it without hesitation and carries on dancing.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a little second cut, but it's just like blinking, you'll miss it. But it's lovely, just lovely.
In the scene with Bob Morton, there was one thing I did, and it's always been Nexus in the film, but I never actually thought about it. What does Paul Verhoeven have about putting Ronnie Cox on a screen? Because that screenshots are almost identical to the ones in Total Recall.
You are absolutely right. I had never considered it before, but you are 100% correct. Well, I mean, he obviously likes the guy.
Yeah.
He thinks he looks good in close-up, I think. It's probably the thing to take away from it. Verhoeven's one of those guys who's difficult to guess because he's got weird ideas about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But Yes, you're right. He does, and he likes close-ups. Period. Now I think about it, because you get the same with Richter in Total Recall as well. There's a number of really close-up shots.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that as well, because it suddenly made me think. There's a similar, even though the personalities and the characters are very different. There's I don't want to say seediness because it's not the right word, to both Richter and Bodica. They've got that kind of understated menace about them.
Oh yeah. They're unpleasant people, and they're unpleasant because they like being unpleasant.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
As much as they are doing their respective jobs, do you fly, Bobby?
Mm-hmm.
That's pure malice.
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with the job. Didn't really do anything to slow down the cops. That was malice.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's that barely restrained malice in the characters.
Which
it's like
is...
dogs on a Rottweiler on a leash kind of quality.
Two brilliant actors to bring that to screen as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, totally.
Okay,
Now,
so we're up to taking out the drug operation.
Yes. Bob has, and then moving on to the Coke House, and eventually with the showdown with Clarence. Now I'm undecided at the moment. I'm not sure whether my third choice should be the showdown with Clarence or his first confrontation with Dick Jones. I think Clarence, because again his personality, he almost kills him.
Mm-hmm.
And again, absolutely, Mcclane would almost kill him until his directive would kick in. And
Well, the first thing with that scene, I thought, if you take it from the top.
so I think that that confrontation with Clarence in the Coke House is my choice for the third scene.
Okay, so I will leap in there just in front of you.
Of course.
And go to the beginning of that scene when Robocop actually first turns up. Rather than, I know it's the dramatic, the tension building with him smacking on the door.
Yeah.
If it was Mcclane, he's just going to drive through the door.
yes, he would. I agree.
Yeah.
Straight through the door.
And it's a beautiful entrance as well.
Yeah.
Because it's just complete lack of concern for anything.
Yeah.
Kicking open a door, yeah, great, it's an entrance. Driving through the side of a building is showing an utter lack of concern for so many things all at once. It's unreal. So that's okay. I mean, it's the same scene I'm talking about. I'm slightly more interested in the end of it. I like the whole scene because also that's just a great scene with Clarence.
Yeah.
I mean, from beginning to end, that little stand, the little Mexican standoff.
With the other dude and things like that. Just lovely little touches that give you...
Again, it gives you that insight into Clarence's way of thinking and his sense of malice, and
yes,
he is chewing the scenery, but it's such an over-the-top film that somebody chewing the scenery kind of slides past. Because everything's turned up to 11. But it's just a beautiful scene. I love the whole thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we get to the point where, as you said, so they have the confrontation between them.
Yeah.
So the stand-up, rather the actual bit where Robocop gets it.
Oh, right, yes, and the bit he starts...
I think the only thing I put for that is, by contrast with what I was saying earlier about him throwing the guy out the window, I think this time Mcclane would be punching him. Because in Die Hard, the more brutal fights, he goes in with his fists, more so like the fight with Carl.
Yep, you're
Definitely
right,
a lot
you're
more
right.
about-
Yeah, a lot, because the other fights tend to end quite quickly, because he's a pretty good shot.
It's when he's forced to fight for some reason because of the space or lack of ammo or whatever. Those are the brutal fights, you're right. Yes. Yeah, they are.
So I think that, and if he was going to, rather than throwing him through glass windows, I thought he'd be throwing him into walls.
Yes. I'm sure he throws him through at least one wall.
I only remember him throwing him through about 3
I know it was
windows.
like an inner wall, so it probably wasn't very thick.
I know he throws him through about at least 3 windows.
But yes, punching him into a wall, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah, sorry for getting sidetracked there.
No, you're cool.
No, I totally agree. You're right. Slightly more brutal because I don't know. I mean, being thrown through windows or being punched with a titanium fist through a window.
Yeah.
I think option B is going to sting more.
Yes.
So yes, definitely a more brutal version of it. He's gonna be almost like Blondie in Fight Club.
Yeah.
Messed up by the end of it. He'll like literally drip, just a face full of blood, basically.
Which just like the
bit when they take him into the station and he spits the gob of blood, it'll be, there'll be the shot of the logbook and it'll just be drop, splat.
Yeah.
Because it'll be dripping before he even spits, just be
blood gouging all over the
A couple
place.
of teeth in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, as we were saying before, when we get to that fight between them, a lot more vocal again from John.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I think he would do what he does in the film. Like he would start, like he would read the line of the rights and then do the action, but there would be something else, maybe a follow up after the action. So you have the right to remain silent, crash, scumbag. You have the right to an attorney, smash. Because he does that thing like when he's hitting people and as he's stoning it, he kind of exhales his comment.
Yes.
When he's fighting people,
He does.
why don't you go down?
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So he does that. He talks. He does make comments during
fights and things, doesn't he?
Which is going to sound strange because again, at this point, he doesn't really get breathless.
Oh, of course not. No.
But it's,
But that explanation of using the force.
yes, it's just that intonation as well. That reminds you that this is
it's him.
Like,
It's not
yeah.
the machine. It's him
Yeah.
actually making these sounds.
Which very quickly then brings us up to the end of Act 2, which is
Like I said earlier on, I was tempted to maybe go for the Jones scene. It's a good scene, but it's more like it's revealing plot than it is revealing character.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that's why I decided to go with the Clarence scene. So I think this is more or less going to play out the same way.
again a bit more kind of complaining from Mcclane that he's being shot.
Oh, yes, yeah. There was a moment, there's the line later on in the third act, it's when Lewis actually says it. I'd mistaken, I thought Robocop said it, but it's Lewis says it, I'm a mess. And at one point when I was rewatching the film, because bear in mind I hadn't seen it for 25 years before I watched it again, and I genuinely thought the I'm a mess bit was when Lewis drags him out of the parking garage, and he said it to her. Like when he pulled himself into the car, I'm a mess, Lewis, and she drives him away. That's what I thought, but of course I was wrong. But it feels like there should be some sort of comment there. And certainly, as you say, Mcclane, he's a bitcher and a whiner, and he is in a mess. He's in his absolute worst state that he is in the entire film.
Yeah.
Because he's already had his body destroyed, but now his mechanical body is almost destroyed. He's hunted by his own company and the police. He can't even act against the criminals because of his programming. He's an absolute nadir.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's perfect, really.
He'd have something to
You
say.
can just hear it when he's just kind of like trying to protect. Oh,
Why does this shit always happen to me or something, you know?
I should be better. But the problem is John Mcclane is so bantery
Yes.
that it's hard to find standout phrases for him because he's conconstantly.
You'd come out with something for 209 not being able to stand up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. So I think that brings us to the end of Act 2.
It does. It really does.
So do please come back and join us next week when we will be finishing off ROBOHARD and launching into Die Cop, which is going to be, again, that's going to be a different one, very different one.
We'll see if it lives up to its name, eh?
Absolutely. Hopefully not.
Yes, indeed.
Also, so again, Shane, sorry you've not been able to join us this week.
So sorry, buddy. We'll get you back as soon as we can.
And in the meantime, to everyone out there, please do stay safe and look after each other as always, and we will see you next week.
As always, TTFN.
Ba 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 ba.